McCollum off a stagger screen. Hayes-Davis wide open. Hayes-Davis, if it goes, Hayes-Davis! Mukabel!
Going to overtime.
Nigel Hayes-Davis has been quiet throughout this whole ball game.
What's up, Sam? How you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. This was creative.
Surprise.
What have you been talking about?
Not much yet. I'll be honest with you, though. Haven't watched a single second of his film yet. I thought if we're going to do this on playback, I might as well have my genuine reactions to his highlights. Obviously, I looked up the information that's available online that we can find, and I looked up some interesting stats. Of course, he holds the highest scoring game. Last year, he scored 50 points in a Fenerbahce game. He was the MVP of the Final Four in the championship in the Euroleague, so they just won, and he was the best player on the last 4 games, basically.
By the way, that 50-point game is not just a Fenerbahce record, it's a Euroleague.
It's a Euroleague record.
Right.
Single game. We'll watch highlights of that game, too.
Yeah, cool.
So we're talking about Nigel Hayes-Davis. For those who don't know, obviously it's the name of this video here, but 6'8", approximately 230, and once again, a player with a over 7-foot wingspan, 7'3" wingspan.
Google blatantly lied to me, by the way, because the first thing I did was look up the measurables, and it said 255. I don't know where Google got that from. But then, yeah, on other sources, it's closer to 230, and you watch him on video, and it's clear he's closer to 230.
Yes, I agree. He looks even smaller. He's listed 6'8", 6'7", depending on where you look, which, of course, is probably one of those measured with or without shoes. Is American, even though he plays in Europe. He went to high school in Ohio. He went to college at Wisconsin. He was a Badger, Wisconsin Badger.
4-year Wisconsin Badger, teammate with Sam Decker and Frank Kaminsky, another former Sun. I'm sure PHNX will be bringing on Frank Kaminsky because I know he's a friend of theirs to talk about Nigel Hayes-Davis. I'm sure that'll happen in the next few days.
That's right. A 2-time EuroLeague first-team selection. This is all from Wikipedia, right? He holds the record for most points scored in EuroLeague game, 50 points against Alba Berlin in the 23-24 season, so previous season. Won the EuroLeague championship with Fenerbahce in 2025, so just a few months ago, if I'm not mistaken, and was the Final Four MVP. Here's something I found, too, when I was researching. Joe Mazzulla went to Turkey last month to watch him in person. So there were obviously other teams interested in Nigel Hayes-Davis. The Suns swept in there. Interestingly, it's going to be a minimum contract, right? Because the Suns don't have any other options other than a minimum contract. So if Boston was also interested in him, which, maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but Joe Mazzulla, head coach, going to scout a player, it's not exactly normal for a head coach to get out there and fly to see players in person. So I imagine there was some level of interest there. But the Suns potentially swept in and got him, which is kind of interesting.
I have 2 reactions to that. First of all, where'd you get that info from? Did Shams say that, or did someone else?
No, I went and looked at any article written about Nigel Hayes-Davis in the last few months, and I just kind of combed through them until I saw something interesting.
Shades of Mike Budenholzer traveling to not Bosnia. They were somewhere else. I want to say maybe Croatia.
Yes, I think that's right.
To meet Yusuf Nurkic last offseason for some of his summer training. So hopefully it works out better than that. But anyway, let's get into the video.
This is from this previous season that just ended. So I think we have this. I have some defensive highlights. Hopefully, I haven't watched any of them, and then I want to watch the highlights of that 50-point game. So don't know anything about him. Excited to learn. Let's
sideline out of bounds. McCollum off a stagger screen. Hayes-Davis wide open. Hayes-Davis, if it goes, Hayes-Davis!
The pull-up 3, that's fun. What a celebration.
Hayes-Davis has been quiet throughout this whole ball game.
16
That's a game winner.
Yeah, so he was the leading scorer for them this year. And this is another thing I looked at.
To get the win.
He's played for
Wow,
about 3
Turkish
years.
Airlines
and-
Euroleague
Hold on, Sam.
basketball
Can't hear
at
you
its
quite.
best.
Yeah,
Hayes
sorry. You went
Davis.
underwater there.
He wears aces.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
On his
sir. What was
jersey,
that?
comes up
He played
aces
for
to win
Fenerbahce
it.
for 3 seasons
He
and
doesn't
steadily
know what
improved
to
his
do.
scoring over
He's
all
like, do
3.
I
He
stand
started
up
at
cool?
like
Do I
10
celebrate?
points
What
per
do I do?
game, then
Somebody tell
13 the
me.
next
And in
season.
the end,
And
he
then this
flaps
past
his
year
wings
averaged
like a
basically
canary
17
watching
points per
run
game.
off.
Keep in mind, EuroLeague games are 40
There
minutes,
had
not
to be
48.
this.
So yeah, he was their leading scorer, leading rebounder. And it seems like the shot has just like vastly improved to a point where now maybe he can stick around in the NBA.
Yeah, 41% from 3. If I didn't mention, he's 30 years old, so not exactly a young guy coming to the NBA for the first time here. He's been around for a while. Another pull-up 3. And you know, with a player like this, right, what's going to be important to think about, I'll pause it as I talk about this, is he's going to play a vastly different role in the NBA than he played with his team, where he probably has the ultimate green light to shoot as their leading scorer. Coming to the NBA, and he understands this, I'm sure, he's going to have to essentially be a 3-and-D type player with his wingspan, with his body type, and his ability to shoot threes. He's going to have to play that role unless he earns more. You know, there's always a possibility of earning the option to do more than that.
I was gonna say I sort of agree with you, but like on the other hand, I do think it's interesting. You know, like sometimes you see when a team signs guys out of Europe or like scouts guys for their international play. I don't know, just to use a couple examples from recent Suns history, like when they brought in Ish Wainwright or they brought in Ife Lundberg, those were guys who weren't even really stars in Europe. They were role players in Europe, and the idea was always they were going to be role players if they could hang around in the NBA. The amount of play finishers who are on the Suns right now just tells me, especially in their front court, just tells me that they could use someone else who has a little bit of on-ball juice, someone who can drive with the ball in their hands, be a secondary playmaker. So, like, I agree, Mike, that the baseline expectation for him is going to be to finish off plays 3-and-D, but they kind of need more creation if they can get it from somewhere else. And I think that was part of the intention behind the signing, too, that he used the role.
It's definitely, you know, there's also problems too if guys come over from EuroLeague like Mike James and think that they should still be shooting as much as they were in the past. You know, if you earn it, you earn it. Like anyone who ultimately the best shot wins, right? If you have the best shot and you're taking the best shot you can take, then you're allowed to do that, but you can't play out of yourself at all. That is a nice shot, too. A little fadeaway in the post. Let's watch that one again.
Yeah, so I saw Turkish fans saying that he has a good post game.
Almost Dirk Nowitzki-esque. Yeah, off 1 foot. It is like Dirk. That's
Rockets
nice.
have KD, but we have
That's
Nigel
right.
Hayes-Davis. We're building him in the aggregate. You guys know the deal.
And like,
know the rule.
I don't know if you watched the Wisconsin Badgers in 2015, Sam, but
No, I wasn't.
and I know they had a pretty
prepared
good run
for
there.
Try to up the
But
intensity
the word on him is, just by looking up what I did before this, an N1 back multiple banked in threes here. The word on him is that he's vastly improved. Like you mentioned, his shot, but he's vastly improved recently. There was an interview I read after they won the championship, and they asked him about it. He said, "I know we deserve this. I worked my ass off." And in the interview, they referenced that just a few seasons ago, he wasn't getting minutes on a different team, and then worked his way up to being the MVP of the Final Four in their tournament. So it's pretty impressive for him to do that in just a few short years. 30, so like he's probably at his peak of what he's capable of athletically, but has improved a lot.
A lot of post-hub kind of playmaking here. I mean, these are all like him scoring for himself. We haven't seen any actual clips of assists for others.
We got a
but-
block there. Yeah, almost like Jimmy Butler.
Connor,
Threes.
he's not 250, I said earlier. He's 230.
Immediately, and let's hope that remains the case.
He also doesn't look 6'8". I would guess he's 6'7". But look at the arms. You can see it in the arms.
Hayes-Davis.
Here's the trap.
I mean, was this kind of them saying, we don't need Colin Murray Boyles, we can get our own Colin Murray Boyles in a way?
Yeah, or
It kind of feels like
Yabu
that's what it
Stele is what I was thinking.
Or,
'cause you and I-
Yabu, but Yabu's like actually 250, 260.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not that
huge,
big. Now, hopefully that means he can move better than Yabu, who's not like, you know, a point of attack guy that you really want frequently switching out onto the perimeter, and I don't know about Nigel Hayes-Davis, truthfully.
Nice. Good cut there. A lot of 3-point shots that we've seen so far. Doesn't look like they're off of a ton of movement. Here's another post up.
Ooh, spin.
Yeah, and through contact.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys who finish through contact on tape.
These guys are professional athletes. You know, we were making the joke about the Atlantic 10 conference in our last stream. Although, what is the European version of plumbers and firemen?
I mean, there are tons of leagues in Europe, right? Like you can go and play in the third Finnish league and like not be that impressive. But if you're playing for Fenerbahce Istanbul, that is one of the premier teams of the Euroleague. This is a good level of competition.
There's a good picture of him in the chat there. Confectioners, yeah, he's playing against confectioners.
Nigel Hayes-Davis,
pastry chefs.
stopping on a dime. Trying to move his feet to stay with him. Crossed up by Nigel Hayes-Davis.
That's
Here's
nice.
pass.
Yeah, a little bit of juice too. Let's watch that one a little slower.
Davis driving, stopping on a dime. Trying to move his feet to stay with
Slips
him.
a little
Crossed
bit.
up by Nigel Hayes-Davis, who offloaded to Nicolo
I have a feeling he watches Jimmy Butler highlights, because if we watch even back to this one, this is very Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that does feel very Jimmy Butler.
Just the location of the post up where it starts, almost in the paint. It's just like you got to fight to do that. Vasnivi, it's a good point. He might not get minutes, but we got to learn about these players either way, right? Good pass there. I like this one.
What was his free throw rate in Europe? Not sure. I'll try and pull up the stats. He shot 91% from the line, though. That immediately was
Yeah.
Awful start. What are they going to do with it? Goodrich looking to be
about 3.5 free throws per game. It's hard for me to say what's comparable in Europe, honestly, because frankly, I just think like guys who average 8, 9, 10 free throw attempts per game in FIBA or the Euroleague doesn't exist. So I think 3.5, 4 is pretty good.
It's interesting to see. He could probably play 3, right? This isn't just a power forward, I'm guessing.
He had his player coming and picking up. You see,
I wonder where they plan on playing him. I mean, forwards are kind of interchangeable, but some of the forwards the Suns have are very not interchangeable. They're either 3s or 4s. I think you can say that about Fleming. You can say that about Royce. You know, I think even Ryan Dunn is probably best at 3. But the amount of post-ups that we're seeing in these highlights, I can't. There's one off movement. Okay. Yeah, that 3's off a little bit of movement there. That's not a normal catch and shoot 3. But like, you can't imagine he's going to get a ton of post-ups for the Suns. But you know, depending on how the season goes, it might be worth it to see if he can.
No, I think he's gonna be shooting a lot of those 3s. I looked at his shot chart. Most of them also were above the break. Not a lot of corner 3s.
Very Jimmy Butler here too. No dribble post up.
Looking to exploit his size advantage over Shane Larkin, backs him down.
Shane Larkin.
Shane Larkin,
almost NBA player, yeah.
Shane Larkin had previously held the single game scoring record at 49 points.
Oh wow.
And then Hayes-Davis broke it last year at 50.
What's been a real entertaining first half. Berovic with the inbound to Hayes-Davis. Hayes-Davis will take
Ooh.
it. Oh,
Yeah, that's nice. Not a ton of assists.
Nigel Hayes-Davis.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, 2 assists basically.
He averaged 2 assists a game.
Yeah. I'm curious how much creation is there. Not a ton of turnovers though.
Let me see.
That is a nice shot in the face of the defense. A full pull up after 2 dribbles.
As the points continue to drop at both ends. What a move.
Oh yeah, he likes. I think he likes the physicality a little bit in here. He started that drive with the guy touching him there and went through him.
They count assists differently in the EuroLeague.
Okay, that's interesting too, Sam. I'm gonna watch this one again because this is something I could see him doing. Let's slow this one down. So caught it here. He's gonna ghost screen this one, right? Completely slips, and then he jab steps.
Yeah, I mean, he's not getting that shot for the Suns. with 10 seconds left in a, go up.
Hey, if he's open, he's open.
Go
I
up
don't
by
care who
2, go up
shoots.
by 3 situation. But yeah, sure.
It's nice to see it after a little bit of, first of all, the ghost screen and the jab step. It's a good sign that he can make those. We need more off-ball movement. I'm so desperate to see more off-ball movement on the Suns.
Paul. Pierre. There goes Hayes-Davis again. Lovely
Catch
spin.
and go.
Nice.
That's really nice, man.
Good fake.
See, that's the type of thing that even if you don't necessarily get these opportunities often, if you catch and go, you're allowed to do this if you can do it, right? Like, you're not going to run the play for him to do this, but if you can do it, you're going to get the opportunities to do that in the NBA.
Yeah. I think I see a little bit more like fluidity and intelligence to his movements than I was expecting, as opposed to like just straight up burst. Like, he's an athlete, but he doesn't seem to have a ton of burst. He's also 30 years old.
Yeah, this one starts in the corner. So right there's just the basic pin down and the dribble handoff into a three. That's another 3 off movement. Another good sign. Really, really valuable if you can shoot off movement at his size, because there's just not a lot of guys that are 6'7", 6'8" that regularly shoot threes off movement. It's really valuable. Hard for the guys who guard them to get around screens like that, even in the NBA.
That is Kem Birch, Pete. Kem Birch played for Istanbul last year.
Another one off movement, and he hesitated, very Devin Booker-esque in that hesitation.
And if you're Paris, you'll take it. But what you're worried about now, if you're Paris, how many open threes?
Don't see a lot of mid-range shots that are not out of the post.
I just don't think he took many,
Yeah,
really.
it seems like he's trying to get to the rim or shoot threes. Another good drive. Fully leaned into that to create space with. Okay, this one's defense. So we can actually look at what he's doing.
This is from not last season, but the season before. But I did want to see something like this. So
Yeah, it says
Shout out,
clutch plays
actually-
and defensive brilliance. So like we're going to see a mixture of both.
the EuroLeague actually has a really good YouTube channel. They keep really good track of their top players' highlights. And,
They had a
and make
1
lot
hour video of his highlights.
compilations.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I don't feel like watching that entire. Maybe
We're not
by
going to do that.
myself.
I might do it later. Yeah. I might
Yeah,
do it later.
I'm not going to do an hour of Nigel Hayes-Davis highlights on playback, but maybe
There's a
watch it.
long time with no basketball. You know, we got a few months. You know, we're gonna have summer league soon, which I don't know if he'll play, but he probably can, which is kind of interesting if the Suns send a 30-year-old to summer league, but we'll see if he ends up playing.
He's not going to play summer league. Are people saying that?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about that now. I haven't thought about it.
Nah, he shouldn't play summer league. You just want a EuroLeague championship. You don't have to then go play
Yeah.
summer league. Just
But
enjoy
wouldn't
your
it be kind
guaranteed
of fun to
contract.
see like a 30-year-old dominate in summer league? I'd like to see it.
It would be fun for us. I just
Yeah.
don't think he needs to be
It wouldn't
there.
be fun for him. Yeah, fair. Yeah, Sam, you're running from the grind.
Yeah, I have to go goon. That's exactly what's going on.
That's the long arms right there. He picked that from behind.
He wants to make that shot. Just
Oh, there's a
little bit
KD
hesitant.
quote about Nigel Hayes-Davis. Interesting.
Oh,
Another
nice
post
move,
up.
Hayes-Davis.
Oh, that's a fun one.
It's a little bit hesitant. Oh, nice move, Hayes-Davis.
He's quick. He's quick.
Quickness with the drop step. Wilbekin the danger man for Fenerbahce. Hayes-Davis.
Oh,
whips
that's
it
a-
around.
that's a
Good
nice
choice
pass.
for
Yeah,
three.
it's not bad.
That is a beautifully
Let's see.
whips it around for Fenerbahce.
Yeah, driving on the
Hayes-Davis
closeout.
whips
Yeah,
it
that's a
around.
nice
Good
pass.
choice for
That's really
three.
nice.
that
And a
is
good drive on the
beautifully
closeout. He was out of position,
coached
but in
play.
position to contest the shot.
Papagiannis. Round the
Oh,
back,
yeah.
Columbus
That's nice.
puts it down. Exceptional.
I hope the
Stunning
Suns
stuff.
cut this year. They did not cut very well last year.
Peters going
They
after his
will.
team.
I mean, they just.
Who will?
How did that get home?
I
What do you
guess
mean?
is my question.
Who on the roster is going to cut?
Yeah.
Fleming, Dunn.
Fleming and Dunn, I agree with that. Brad
Fleming and
doesn't.
Dunn.
Book doesn't
Malawach.
really.
Malawach will. Mark Williams will. I mean, if you're just talking about, like, playing out of the dunker spot, whatever.
Yeah.
But they'll have cutters.
But this is far too easy. Nigel
Finished through
Hayes-Davis will be
contact
going
there.
to the free throw line looking to complete 3 the old-fashioned way. Communication for Partizan.
Yeah, no highlights
resulting in
for a guy that
easy
has
pickings
arms like him. We haven't
with
seen a
perfect
dunk yet, have we?
placement. Barely got above the rim.
Yes, we have.
Hayes-Davis.
Just not like a poster dunk, but there have been a few dunks. Yeah.
It seems like he's finishing quite a bit under the rim, which is fine. I just,
Dribble drive from Nigel Hayes-Davis.
I guess, a little surprised.
Got the little and large show of Dos Santos and Kuzmic to deal with there. There's a nice step back.
He's
with no
playing
shot
out of the
block.
dunker
It's
spot.
Hayes-Davis.
That is
Oh.
very Jimmy Butler, right?
The TJ Warren move.
Yeah,
right there.
that's right. To put a wing in the dunker spot is TJ Warren. Another little behind the back pass there.
He's turned it into an assist.
5 points the advantage for Real in this 2-score affair. Nigel Hayes-Davis driving.
He definitely
the lane, goes
operates
high off
almost
the
as a
glass
shooting
and
guard in
gets
this
the
offense,
shooter's roll
or like
over
a
the
small
top of
forward.
Eddie
It
Tavares,
doesn't
the
seem like,
leading shot blocker.
unless he's in the post, it
Step
doesn't
back
seem
three
like
over
the
top of
play
league second leading
starts
shot
with
blocker.
him
Yorgos Papagiannis.
dribbling. I don't know that we've seen
Hayes-Davis
almost
fighting for the
any
offensive
pick and
boards.
rolls by him,
Count the basket.
which is fine. I'm just sort of
Wonderful
pointing out what I'm
dexterity
noticing.
with the footwork from Nigel Hayes-Davis. Rebounding a
I don't know
crowded
who their
lane,
point guard
and then
was
watch him
last year.
create something
They may have
out
just
of
not
nothing
had
here.
like a pick and roll capable point guard, really.
But he's not doing it
Fantastic
either,
body
which is
control.
interesting. I don't think he starts. No, Wally. I would guess
And
no.
again,
No, I don't think he starts. But it's a good question because I have no idea who starts at power forward on this team right
Yeah,
now.
don't
Really
really
don't
know.
know.
I mean, he's 30.
With Rogavopoulos
Maybe he'll earn it.
deep into the shot clock. Nigel Hayes-Davis.
So that's
gonna be
a that's a pick
An
and pop.
intense training
him.
camp.
Pick and pop with him as a screener in this one.
Rogavopoulos
So handoff, screen.
deep into the shot clock.
Shifts right into
Nigel
it.
Hayes-Davis.
Jacob, sure, there's nothing that says the Suns can't sign like 5 players right now, and then they just have to cut a bunch before training camp.
Yeah.
or during
18.
training
You
camp.
think you can hold up to 18 in the
18, yeah, sure. So I think what they have 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah. So if you before 18,
That
yes.
definition? Before 18.
You have to have 13 players, I believe. It might even be 14 this year in the regular season. There's an and one 4-point play.
But too much contact as he looked to get a
14 if
hand
Kobe
in
Bray is a
the
two-way.
Yeah, so they have 15 players, so they have a full roster right now, unless Kobe Bray is a 2-way, in which case they have 1 spot open.
Which, by the way, we have not fully gotten confirmation. Hey, there's a
We don't
dunk
know. We don't
on
know.
what Kobe
Yeah, he's-
Bray's
he's
contract
dunking
is going to be.
sometimes. They're just not like,
Yeah, he's not
Jalen Green
slamming
dunks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful baseline
They're not
cut,
like
offload, count
Fleming's
the
dunks
bucket.
that we just
Nigel
watched.
Hayes-Davis showing beautiful poise in the paint. Here's the offload from Jonathan Motley, passing out of the double team. And
Yeah,
then
Malawach, I
pump
would
fake,
say, is definitely not
causing
starting.
jumping that wasn't quite synchronized. And look at the tussle down low as Motley demanding the basketball, but Thomas Dimsha standing.
Yeah, but it would also be crazy if Fleming started, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, it could be done in Brooks, right?
On the inside, Nigel Hayes-Davis
At forwards.
denying Roland Schmitz on the
Yeah.
interior. Break being
Which is
orchestrated by
very
Joe
small
Gillis.
considering how massive
Small.
this team is now.
Yeah, it's like that would be small, but then the bench would all be huge.
Yeah, so you just bring in big guys.
Defended by Goodrich. Motley looking with the help, and that's the
It's
easy
just
pick.
tough to not
Nigel
have
Hayes-Davis with the steal. It's a 3-on-3.
Brooks and
Corner
Dunn
three
in there
from
guarding the
Motley.
ball
It is
handlers
bottom. Got a
on the
hand
other team. That's
offensive
something you
rebound.
definitely
And
want.
it's a recycled 14. Nigel Hayes-Davis one-on-one with Mike Dunn. Cradles the
I think I'm
basketball.
prepared to call him the Jimmy Butler of
Running
EuroLeague.
hook.
Not his game, though, to play.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
that's
I mean, he's a better three-point shooter, but
just from the highlights, that's more or less what I'm seeing too.
Taking his time,
Trying to think, is there another NBA example of a guy who just like does this Jimmy Butler footwork stuff, but also hits threes?
Paul George.
3 offensive rebounds in the first
Yeah, but
20
Paul George
minutes.
never worked this much out of the post.
Answer that with one of their own.
well, DeRozan, but doesn't shoot a ton of threes. He obviously
Yeah, DeRozan with a 3? He's a weird player.
Yeah, post and three-point players are pretty rare. That's a really good point. Usually post-up guys like to shoot mid-range shots, and we've seen like maybe 2 or 3.
Hayes-Davis now.
This is a high post. Good pass.
Or again, same spot, same outcome.
He fired that one.
Turnover Fenerbahce. Now Moneke. Caletes doesn't want the third foul. But
So
look
he
at
jumps
that
the passing
from
lanes.
Davis.
Haven't seen a ton of blocks.
Intercepting and saving. And Biberovic with the bang.
Embiid is the only post and 3 player. Yeah,
Goodrich now fielding
Jokic.
it. Hayes-Davis
He's basically
offensive
Jokic.
rebound, and that a huge hustle play.
What about Rui Hachimura?
Nigel Davis.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I
kind of
guess.
true though, right?
I was about to say Jonathan Kuminga.
Offensive rebound.
Cat, there's a good one. I mean, he's a non-big.
Hayes-Davis again. Capasso
Another assist.
upset, and he's talking smack.
Dorsey back in. Papagiannis. Coletas.
Papagiannis.
So far.
He's definitely not Durant, Jay Willie, because I haven't seen a single Hezzy Jimbo.
There's been
in
no
these highlights.
18-footers. Even his mid-range
No
shots, the little
18-footers.
post. Yeah.
Valencia extend the defense now.
Kawhi's a good one, actually.
A little bit of Kawhi. A little bit.
Kawhi does shoot mid-range too.
Davis from deep.
Kevin McHale with a 3-point shot may be the best one I've heard yet, actually. Just that old school. I mean, Charles Barkley with a 3?
Charles Barkley shot threes. He shot over 2,000.
That's true. Charles Barkley, but good at threes?
Yeah.
Is that what he was? He also, averaged 5 rebounds a game, not 12 or 15 or whatever. So
That's a good pass. So that's a short roll play.
yeah,
Kind of interesting. Let's see that one again. Good screen.
Hayes-Davis.
Not the quickest pass, but good recognition. And didn't force. I mean, if you're not going to shoot a mid-range shot, what else are you going to do, I guess? You're either going to get to the rim or you're going to pass the three-point line.
damn, that's another
Yeah, let's
beautiful
watch that in
off-screen
slow.
play for him.
Yeah, that's almost Warriors-esque. Yeah, so he sets the first screen, and then there's the duck in to set the multiple.
Screen the screener.
Yeah. And that's contested by a big guy. That's really nice. Okay, if he could shoot, it's pretty massive if he could shoot off movement. If that translates to the NBA.
I mean, I'm just going to say it like, this is a guy who they've been scouting for over a year. And a couple years ago, he was like, I don't know, a 35% three-point shooter or something. And based on what we're seeing, I wouldn't see an NBA player if he was only a 35% three-point shooter. But at 40% and 90% from the line, you could make this work.
So
You could
Rasul
definitely
is saying this is his 50-point game. That's right there, which
We
we're going to
have a
watch
whole
all of
video.
the highlights of next.
We have a
Yeah.
whole video of the 50-point game.
Yeah.
We're going to watch the 50-point game.
That is a nice Euro step, though. Good finish. Yeah, he definitely plays below the rim. I swear he's probably closer to 6'6" now, I'm wondering. But 6'6" with a 7'3" wingspan is still more of a forward.
What a reaction from this arena.
Over there, it's just a step.
Hayes-Davis hits 50 points.
Is the duck in? Yeah, that's Jimmy. They're just so small. It's like basically Isaiah Thomas guarding him there. That guy's tiny.
How'd he get on him in that play?
Another guy, tiny guy on him. Oh, nice pass. Let's see that one again. That's
touch
quick.
pass. That's a touch pass.
They got Tyler Eulis guarding him exactly.
Is Tyler Eulis playing somewhere?
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Third quarter down to just 5. As
Yeah,
Nigel
no
Hayes-Davis
hesitation
makes
with
it
the
a
defender on
single
him.
possession affair, leave that follow-through
I hope that confidence stays with him.
Nigel Hayes-Davis with
30
mindset
is important. Like, I do think that actually matters. How old was PJ Tucker when he got to the Suns? Like 26?
27, I think.
Yeah.
off the window.
And then stuck around in the league until he was like, 38, 39, whatever he is now.
Oh, that's right. Eulis is coaching with his former college, Calipari, right?
I didn't know that.
I think I did. That's nice. With his left.
Looking to thread the needle is Mike James, picked off by Tariq Baburovic, and he's lost the basketball straight back into the hands. Oh my goodness, this
Nice.
is unbelievable. A kamikaze sequence.
He steals it and he steals it, immediately puts his back to the basket from the 3-point line.
Yeah, he really did.
It's just
He
like,
likes to pass from there, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
a good way to stop you from turning it over. Yeah, even his post-ups, like he's trying to move towards the rim. Very, very few fadeaways.
Wants to clear out. He's got a mismatch on James.
That's Mike James guarding him. Another MVP.
Wilbekin in space. Bingo!
Good pass.
Wilbekin right in front of the Monica
Much harder to make. That type of pass is much harder to make in the NBA. The length is a lot longer.
Nigel Hayes-Davis, the field goal from off his back. And
Oh, a dunk?
There we go. Two-hander.
Yeah, just a two-hander. Just the little rim grazers. That's all we're getting.
So Alpha Diallo down in his defensive stance. Sertat Shanna looking to set a pick. They go to the opposite wing with the floated ball. Nigel Hayes-Davis, fantastic.
Oh, that's
footwork.
nice. Oh,
Slaps
that's
away,
really
but only
nice.
into the basket.
They just need to get on the scoreboard. I think that's the main objective at the moment. Let's see if Marco Goodrich can do something. Go inside to the post with this.
Yeah.
Great spin by Hayes-Davis and one to
That's
go.
nice. He's definitely, when he posts up, he's definitely trying to get to the rim. I appreciate that. Oh, he went behind the back there. Oh, there we go.
There's a mid-range.
There
So
we
it's
go. It's pretty, too.
Once every 5 minutes, we get a clip of like the craziest touch in the mid-range.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he's not really taking that shot.
The ball handling on that one was nuts, too.
Progress is impeded
Behind the
with
back.
Showing some guard skills. That's a tough
Creates
shot.
the space.
Oh, did you see that?
Rasul,
Hayes-Davis with a turnaround
are you still
touchdown
here?
to
We got
the
a
shot clock.
Fenerbahce
The
fan
5-on-4
here, Sammy, in case you
opportunity
didn't notice.
For Fenerbahce, Hayes-Davis kicks. Dorsey checks his feet.
If you are here, I'm curious your opinions of his defense. Because he seems, based on what we're watching, he seems like an offensive player. And, like, to be fair, he was their leading scorer, so they needed him to do a lot of offense here. So the highlights are going to be very offensively focused.
Get the baby jump shot to go.
Skinny Paul Millsap is funny.
He's a very solid defender.
Yeah,
He
he
just stands his ground.
Now he's going to try his hand to the three, and there it is.
Another good pass out of the post. He's recognizing those passes out of the post pretty fast, too. Are you ready for 50-point game highlights?
Mario Hazonia at his best.
All right, first play, get to the rim.
Is this a 50-point game?
This is the 50-point game.
All right, let's do it. This is a record-setting game.
This is going at an insane pace already. I'm guessing there's not a ton of free throws here.
No, he took a lot of threes in this game. There's another three.
Warbeck passes out to the double team. Here's Davis.
I love that little hesitation. This man
Off
is moving.
movement.
Yeah.
Off movement. Yep, these are not, you know, your typical threes. He's a real shooter.
Hayes-Davis free for the three. It's a fumble from Hermanson. And the skip
In
through
college, he
and
was known as Nigel
the
Hayes.
Kumadje's played
Changed his
13
name after
of the first
college
22
to add
minutes
his
in this
stepfather's name, who was
game.
someone who was
Biberovic.
influential in his life
Also
and
yet
wanted
to
to add his last name, which is, I think, pretty
The
cool.
brightest star in
Said
Istanbul.
That's why he
Sabalos
goes by
is-
Nigel Hayes-Davis.
Shigasama. Again, a
Ted Sabalos played over the rim, though, above the rim.
Well, I was almost going to say a little bit of Tom Chambers, but like more below the rim.
Hayes-Davis.
I mean, Chambers could dunk, but didn't do it that often. He shot a lot of jump shots.
Batted away by Papagiannis. There's the quick
And he's out there.
Hazard.
Imagine being on a heater like this.
Ooh.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they're up 32 at this point already.
Yeah.
And here he is
Oh,
again.
he's cherry picking now. You
I
have
mean,
32,
if you're
you're
gonna
trying to run up
if
the
you're gonna
record.
set a record, then
Yeah, yeah.
it's allowed.
Hayes-Davis, who has 48.
48, 20, literally 24 seconds left, and he
That's
says,
sick,
"I'm gonna
though.
take
That's
one
so
more."
great.
Yeah, that's fun.
Nigel Hayes-Davis, history maker.
Is there an interview? Why is this?
I don't
video
know.
4 minutes long?
I'm very curious, too. I didn't expect it to fly through. Oh, we're getting some replays?
I think there might be an interview at the end. That's what I want to
That
hear.
is so nice. What a nice little finish to get his 50th point.
With so much confidence, silkiness, smoothness.
The Jimmy Butler of EuroLeague.
Now what a
He's somewhere
reaction
on the spectrum
this
from
arena
Sonny Weems to
as
Jimmy
Nigel
Butler,
Hayes-Davis
is what we've decided.
We'll figure it out, 10 games in. If he
Josh
plays.
Childress to
Nigel,
LeBron James.
I'm
Oh, here we
here
go.
with the all-time
see what he says.
scorer in one game, Nigel Hayes-Davis. Congratulations.
Yeah, I told Mike after the game that I had it written in my notes at the beginning of the season. I wanted to break the scoring record this year. And right before the game, I texted my guys, Jordan and Nate, and told them that I was feeling a DeJounte Murray game. I didn't know I was going to score 50. I just knew I was going to shoot the ball a lot. But all the credit goes to my teammates.
Is this around the time DeJounte had that
doing
game?
A great job finding me. And an even bigger shout out goes to Ilker and then the fans, because the fans knew the scoring record was 49. and they started, basically yelling at Sharks to put me back in. So it was a club effort, team effort. I'm very proud of myself for doing this. Very proud of myself and the work and everything I put in. It's a great honor. Is it the first 50 point?
First 50 points. It's amazing. But we've
Like
seen
you didn't
also,
know.
we witnessed who were in the arena. We've seen you went to the bench and you said something to your coach and Ilker at the same time. What did you say?
Probably when I came out that, I asked Ilker at halftime, what's the record? And he told me 41. I said, I can do that. And then when I got it, I came out and told Charles, I said, all right, I got it. And then Ilker comes up to me and goes, Nigel, you're going to hate me. The record's 49. So I turned around and looked at Charles like, hey, how many times does someone score 40 in Europe? This is damn near impossible. So after I said that, he looked at me. Everybody in the crowd stood up and just put up 6 and was telling me. So, like I said, thanks to fans, coach for trusting me and allowing me to go out there and do it, and my teammates for, finding me. They did a great job of trying to give me the ball. It was very scary and shaky sometimes, but it's a huge honor. I'm very happy.
My hands are still shaking from this excitement, so congratulations. And you're the second three-pointer shooter in one game after Shane Larkin. Congratulations.
That's not a bad person to be behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
In the chat, are we saying that he's the guy that called the girl cute without realizing the mic was on?
Yeah, he was. That was him. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I did not know that.
He was next to Kaminsky and Sam Decker. If you want to find that clip, just throw it on the stream so people know what we're talking about. Otherwise, we could watch that video that says the evolution of burgers.
That's true. We could watch that one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is also Nigel Hayes-Davis. Back when he was
we want to know, is there anything
Nigel
you'd
Hayes.
like to say to our stenographers just to tip things off?
Syzygy.
All right.
Do you have it?
Check out her fancy.
Okay. Gosh, she's beautiful. Did you hear that?
All right, so we'll open it up to questions.
He knew what he was doing, didn't he? That was not his first press conference. There's no way. You know that the mic is hot. You know that the mic is hot.
All right, so how you feeling? Now we watched some highlights. How you feeling about Nigel Hayes-Davis?
About Nigel Walter Davis?
Yeah.
I kind of like that one, actually. Nigel Walter Davis, I'm going to call him that. Yeah, I feel pretty good. He's definitely, like you said, way more below the rim than I was expecting.
Yeah, same.
A lot of shiftiness and skill to his post game. When I guess what I was probably just like envisioning in my head was a little bit more power. But yeah, that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. So I'm just eager to see him get out there and play.
We'll see how much he plays. I think being someone who has the amount of experience that he has compared to a lot of the young guys that are going to be on this team, I think there's a good chance he gets quite a bit of minutes, especially because he looks more like a 3 than a 4. If the Suns lose one of Grayson Allen or Royce O'Neal in the next few days, which I think is possible, then he might be getting more minutes than we anticipated, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just a good shout there that we still don't know what's going to happen with Grayson or Royce. They still are about, God, what's the most recent estimate you've seen? Like 17, 18, 19 million away from getting under the second apron?
I
if
think
that's
it's
a priority
less
to them?
now that
It might even be
waived
16.
Cody Martin. So yes, 12 is what the chat's saying. So we got
I want to say
between 12 and 15 according to the chat.
I want to say their pathways out of the apron right now would be either, the obvious, agree to a buyout with Beal, waive and stretch, which has its own massive negatives for us that we all know about. That's the first pathway, but I still think like if you found a team to just dump Grayson on for picks or something, that would be another way at this point out of the apron. Now, of course, I don't know how much of a priority that is for them at this point. And like we said, their roster is full right now, unless Kobe Brea is only signed to a 2-way in which they have one spot. But like they could create more spots by waiving Beal. They could create more spots by trading Grayson or Royce. There's a lot of stuff that could still happen over the next week. And honestly, at this point, like I'm not really sure which way the wind is blowing with this team anymore. It does feel like this kind of could be it for a while.
And
or it feels
technically,
like
they could get out of the second apron during the season as well. It doesn't
Of course,
necessarily
yeah.
have to happen now. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if this was kind of the premier signing for the Suns this summer, which it definitely could be, or something huge could happen with Beal tomorrow. And they could get Chris Paul. I haven't checked Shams' feed in the hour that we've been recording this. Has anything happened?
And I will say,
The
just
past
to answer
hour?
that question, as the chat catches up here, Ludo asks, keep hearing the wave and stretch Beal, but Lowe said they can't. They can't without him giving up money. That's the only way to do it. So yeah, we'll see if that ends up happening. Colin Gillespie's back. Nigel Hayes-Davis was signed. Maybe nothing else. I guess we'll follow along and see what happens. Today is Monday. It's just the very beginning of free agency as we're recording this and talking here. We'll probably record tomorrow, depending on what happens over the next half a day. And then potentially record tomorrow and see if we have anything to talk about. Maybe something big will happen, maybe not, but at least we have Nigel Hayes-Davis to talk about. If we post this up on YouTube, I do want to give a shout out to our patrons. We're going to put them at the end, assuming this is on YouTube. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out.